Welcome to the Exploring Awareness podcast. Join Dr. Frank Anderson and Lisa Berry in exploring new ways to live in this chaotic world and find peace and joy in the most unlikely places.
Well, hello, and thanks for checking out this Exploring Awareness podcast. Whether this is your first time or you've been following along, we think you're going to find some very useful tools and enjoy some interesting conversation that will hopefully inspire you or help open your eyes to a more peaceful, joyful, loving life. Is that our goal?
That is our goal. That is our goal. And we want to take mindfulness to a little bit deeper level as well, because there's so many mindfulness activities people can do. And when we talk about exploring awareness, we're talking about what allows us to be mindful and to connect to that. So, mindfulness is a great activity to do, but this exploring awareness is going to take us a little bit deeper.
Why would someone want to be mindful?
People might be experiencing things out in the world that they might not be quite able to understand. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of chaos in the world. Right. There's a lot of demands placed on people. There's a lot of expectations, lots of stress, lots of anxiety, right. Some depression, some chaos, some ideas like, where are we going next? Unanswerable questions.
So being mindful helps you get through the day and relax and feel better and enjoy the journey a little bit more?
It can do that, but it can also help you know yourself at a deeper level.
Yeah. Speaking of which.
And moving around in the world in a little bit different way so that these questions, aren't causing so much reactivity.
Right. So we had a meditation assignment.
Yeah, we did.
From last week.
How did that go?
Well, let's back up one second. What kind of meditation were we doing? Awareness?
Well, yeah, we were using mindfulness techniques.
Okay.
To kind of identify as awareness, right? So in the previous episodes, we've talked about mindfulness of the breath and mindfulness of the body and mindfulness of thoughts. And so that's where we are. We have those guided meditations at the end of each episode.
Right.
And so we were practicing that at home ourselves.
I'm going to give myself a C+. Not for effort, because I pretty much did. We were going to do it every day. Did you do it every day?
Yeah, I did it every day.
You did?
I did. Not every day wasn't as good as other days. So I got a couple of 40-minute ones in. Yeah. But more like 10-minute ones.
And you've been meditating for how long?
Since about 1996. I've been having a meditation practice since then. I mean, there's been times when I meditate every day and sometimes where I miss days. So it's been part of my life for a very long time.
Would you say you're good at it?
Oh, I wouldn't evaluate it that way.
No? How would you evaluate it?
I think consistency would be the best way to evaluate it. I like to do 5 out of 7 days.
Right.
And I love to meditate for 40 minutes at a time. But I find that sometimes really hard to do.
Yeah.
But, this week I had a great meditation at my house. I didn't have to go into work so early. And we just got a canary.
Oh, fun.
A pet canary.
What'd you name it?
Des, or Desi.
Okay.
I call it Desi. My son calls it Des. It's a beautiful white canary with just a little yellow wing. And it sings so beautifully. And remember I was telling you at the Thailand retreat after I had been there for 5 days.
Right.
And I was all immersed in my own thoughts until finally that all calmed down and I could hear the birds singing. Mm-hmm. Well, I was meditating in the basement. I could hear that bird singing, and it just brought me right back to that. It's kind of like a mindfulness bell, listening to the bird and just being aware, of the bird singing and me sitting there. It was fantastic.
So we challenged each other to meditate for a full week. And at first I was really excited because I thought, I have a goal and I have a mission and I'm going to do this. And I went home and I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I thought, I'm going to meditate. This is going to be so cool. And then all sorts of stuff that I didn't even realize I was even thinking about. Painful things involving my sister who passed away and some childhood experiences that we had suddenly came up. And I'm, well, that's not pretty. Why is that the very first thing I'm experiencing on this week-long meditation assignment? And that kind of surprised me. Does that happen? I thought I was supposed to meditate to be calm and happy and things like that are coming up. Is that common?
Well, we talked about kind of awareness of thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it is common because, when you're running through your day, and your thoughts are all kind of maybe about evaluating things, about expectations, about what you did do, what you didn't do. When you stop and just let yourself be, then the mind is also going to come up with other things as well, And so when it's not clouded over by your immediate reactivity, then your mind will come up with other things.
I feel like people listening are going to think, oh, heck no, I'm not going to meditate if that's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to suffer. I don't want to feel the feelings I apparently have not wanted to feel for a while.
Right. And we are going to talk a little more today about mindfulness of feelings, of feeling states and emotions, because we can apply our kind of exploring awareness concepts or techniques or mindfulness of the emotions, to emotions and feelings. And, we all have emotions and feelings, and we all have histories, and we all have regrets, and we all have positive things as well, like ecstatic states, and we want, that cruise again. We miss that cruise. But, there's something about holding that in awareness, allowing feelings and emotions that are in the present moment to be what they are and to apply awareness to them.
And what does it mean to be what they are?
Well, can you give an example maybe? Did you have an example this week of a feeling that you didn't want?
We don't have time for that.
We do, actually.
You want me to tell you, or do you want to share a story?
Well, I'll share a story.
Okay.
I'll start. So, this week we were invited to a family's house for dinner, and I had been on call the night before, so I was a little tired, a little out of sorts.
And if this is your first episode, Frank is a OBGYN, he's a doctor, a physician.
Yeah, right. So I was up delivering babies, had a great mindful delivery. But, I had, early in the day, I had bought some wine and some mango juice, because the kids like the mango juice. Adults were going to have the wine. I put it in the fridge. And, we're running late, and we get in the car. We were supposed to go pick up a friend, take them there. And as we get in the car, my wife said, do you have the wine and the mango juice? I'm like, no, I don't have that. So we go back to the house. I leave the car running. I run into the house, unlock the door, get the mango juice and the wine, and then lock the door on my way out. Got back in the car and got down the street, and it says remote key not present.
Uh-oh.
Which means I left the keys back in the house.
In the locked house?
In the locked house. And there are no other keys available. And my wife doesn't have a key, and my son, who's over at a friend's house already, doesn't have a key. Our neighbors don't have a key. No one has a key.
So you're locked out.
And we're locked out. And if I turn the car off, we're not going anywhere either. Plus, someone's waiting to pick us up. So, situations like that cause a flood of emotions and a flood of feelings, right? Because it's like, first of all, it's like, how could I have done that? I'm so forgetful, why doesn't my wife have a key? Why doesn't my son? There are so many things that kind of come up, and it can be extremely annoying and extremely cause suffering, because your mind, you resist that. You don't want to have those feelings. You're judging, you're evaluating. But this awareness or mindfulness that we're talking about also gives us an opportunity to look at those things, look at them, explore them, let them be. Because when you're trying to push that stuff away too, it just makes it worse, because they're there. And actually, the truth of the matter is they come and they go. And the truth of the matter is we're going out to dinner, and we're going to come back and get into the house some way. Our friend did have to come pick us up. The person we were supposed to pick up came to pick us up. And we went to the dinner, and as I was in the car, I was just first kind of pulled away with thoughts, and second, using this because I had been meditating, and we talk about the pilot project as what you do at home. And when you're out in the world, you can apply it. And it's like, okay, I am thinking this, and I am feeling this. And, I did that for a little bit, and then all of a sudden a smile came on my face, and it was just like, there you go again. And there was also that sense of compassion.
For yourself?
For myself. You know how we talk about this with awareness?
Yeah.
There's a sense of peace, love, generosity, and that's what I was feeling. That's that using that technique, it transformed all of this crazy thoughts I was having into. All of a sudden, I took that step back, and there I am in the awareness place that doesn't have any of that. And I really felt a sense of happiness. And I also felt really happy because all that got transformed. So we got to the dinner, and they're like, we can't believe you're not more upset about this. And, it was on my mind, and it would come and go. But the thoughts would come. But instead of getting rid of them, they just got transformed with awareness. I don't know what else to say, but I would invite everyone to try it. Because I know people don't want to have feelings, and they don't want to have thoughts. They're unwelcome sometimes. But the opposite of pushing them away is to hold them with compassion.
So you're meditating, and an unpleasant thought comes up, and you start to get upset. Do you stop yourself and just say, I'm not going to attach to that feeling, and I'm just going to hold myself in compassion?
No, I don't think you can stop it. That's also that's also a way of causing more problems if you try to stop it. How would you try to stop it?
Okay, well, you're saying be aware of it. So
yes.
I would try to stop feeling it. And I know we're going to talk about feelings and emotions, but when you're thinking an unpleasant thought arises, you're attaching. For me, it goes right to my heart, and like, that hurts. I don't like it. I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
It's painful. So I don't feel those things.
You absolutely feel them, but can you apply the awareness concepts to be aware that you're feeling them?
Okay, so it's enough to say, all right, something came up. Oh man, that's upsetting. I don't like that. And now I'm just going to think I'm aware of what I'm feeling, and not feel it.
Yeah, no, I've never said you're not going to feel it.
Well, so what's the
I'm
difference?
asking you if you can use this exploring awareness or mindfulness of your emotions to see what happens. I won't even tell you what happens. Just what would happen if you had a particular feeling or emotion and you allowed it to be.
Does that mean you don't feel it?
You will feel it.
You will feel it, but what does allowing it to be mean then?
Well, can I reference this wonderful tool that Tara Brach has taught me and many, many others. And, Tara Brach is a fantastic teacher, mindfulness teacher, psychologist, and she's a gift, really, to all of us. And so if you looked online, you'd find a YouTube video or plenty of videos of her talking about this. But she has this acronym. It's called RAIN. And the R stands for recognize what's going on.
Okay.
And that does apply to mindfulness. It's like, first of all, sometimes you might be completely in this emotion and you don't even know you have the emotion. Have you had that experience?
I'm pretty connected to my emotions, but I don't think that's typical for everyone.
I've had that before. Like, what if you just get really mad, You don't really know you're mad, you're just being mad. So the first step is to recognize that you have anger.
Okay.
And that's a big step, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think when I was younger, I would get angry really quickly, especially when, one kid did something to the other kid or something. That would really get me angry. Injustice got me angry. Lots of things will get me angry. But do you know that you're angry? And what is it that knows that you're angry? And so recognizing what's going on is the first thing. And that tool we used before, just stopping to take a breath?
Right.
Okay, anger is coming up.
Is that self-awareness?
that's I think you could use whatever term you'd like. I know we've had that discussion. So first, recognizing what's going on. That's the R in RAIN.
Okay.
The A is allow the experience to be there just as it is. Now, that might be counterintuitive, right? Because you're saying that you get an emotional feeling and you don't want it, you want it to go away.
Right, yeah.
And this is saying allow
it.
the experience to be there just as it is. And what is that? What kind of reaction do you get from that? What does that trigger for you?
It just allow it, not feel it. Be aware of it. It's out there, but I'm not going to let it fill my heart with negative feelings.
So when we talk about mindfulness and present moment awareness and what is happening in the present moment, if you have an emotion coming up in the present moment, that's just what it is. Right? And you can't get rid of it. And you can try, but that just creates another problem for yourself.
Can you feel it?
Because it's going to come out somehow, sometime.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. So this technique asks you to just be present, to allow the experience to be there just as it is. So the next step is the I in RAIN is to investigate with interest and care. So what would it be like for you to investigate with interest and care some feeling or emotion that you've just had?
Like, why am I feeling that? What does it mean? That kind of investigation?
Yeah, could you? Yeah. Like what's contributing to it? What else? What's behind it? I think for me to be angry about the keys, behind that was, I'm forgetful. I'm judgmental that other people don't have keys. I can't believe that it's, that there's this, that I had put the keys under the rocks and now the rocks are frozen solid and I can't get to them. So then there's that. But then it's like, I was up all night the night before. So, maybe there's some place, the N is about nurturing yourself.
So when you were investigating it and being aware of all those things, were you feeling them or you're just like stating them? Like, here's the facts.
No, I was feeling them. No, I feel like investigating, just looking into all the things that were contributing to my feelings.
But then you cut yourself some slack.
Well, the N is nurture with self-compassion.
Okay.
And remember we talked about this awareness place, love, peace, joy, and equanimity. These constant states that are always present within us. So is it possible to nurture yourself with self-compassion when these things are happening? Can you be compassionate to yourself when you're angry? Can you be compassionate to yourself when you're embarrassed? Can you be compassionate to yourself, when you're depressed or anxious? It's like there's my anxiety's coming up again. Recognizing your anxiety. Investigate your anxiety. This anxiety is coming up because all of a sudden, this test is coming up, and I haven't studied for it enough, and I haven't studied enough because I've been out partying, and now I feel embarrassed and mad at myself for that. And where does that lead you?
So RAIN, those are the steps.
RAIN. Recognize, allow the experience, investigate with interest and care, and nurture with self-compassion. And I'm not saying you have to love yourself, but I'm saying with these exploring awareness techniques, there's already that compassion there.
Why are you not saying
you're
you
tapping into it?
And why are you saying you shouldn't love yourself?
Because that's a bottom up. If you say you have to love yourself and you don't, that's a top-down approach. But to tap into to the wellspring of self-compassion that's already there, to discover that for yourself and be compassionate for yourself, that's a different quality.
Did you apply all those that night?
I did. And I was
better?
Smiling. I was like, and that's the word for me, transform. So, one of our taglines is finding peace and joy in the most unlikely places. So all of a sudden I'm in this really difficult situation, and because I'm applying these techniques to that, tapping into this deeper sense of well-being, it's like I was smiling. It didn't have the same effect on me.
And I don't want to dilute your point, because I think that's a great, useful tool and lesson. But sometimes when I'm in situations like that, I just think, I'm not going to waste my time being mad. Is that similar at all?
It is kind of, well, you know that you're mad, and you're letting it go.
Because, tomorrow you're going to look back at this, and I'm not going to let it ruin my evening.
But, not everyone can do that. And so there's different techniques. But if you could, that's exactly right. As long as you're not pushing it away or bearing it or not allowing the feeling to be. Recognizing the feeling is extremely important.
Allowing the feeling to be. I think I'm then missing a link to that somehow. And maybe that's what I'm not doing, that I need to do more of. Allowing the feeling to be. Can you give us another example?
If you're
glossing over it?
If you're glossing over, pushing it away.
Yeah.
But
not dealing with it.
You'd have to know whether you're doing that or not.
Yeah.
Well, there's I have a list of feelings, from A to Z. Pick a letter. What letter would
L.
you like? L. Lazy.
Is a feeling?
Yes. You feel lazy.
Huh.
Do you feel lazy?
I never thought about
sometimes?
that.
Do you feel left out? Do you feel leery, lethargic, listless, lively, livid, logical, lonely, longing, lost, lovable, low, loyal? I mean, these are all feelings. The big with L.
You said lovable. Is love a feeling?
Lovable is a feeling.
And we're talking about feelings so we know how to handle them or what to do with them?
I think we're talking about those feelings so that you can recognize them. So we'll start out with recognizing them. So when you've been practicing some meditation and you're kind of aware of yourself, self-awareness, like you like to say, then there's a part of you that knows you're having an emotion. Right? So there's a part of you that knows you're having a feeling, an anxious feeling, a depressed feeling, a happy feeling, any feeling really, to know that you have that and to investigate that with interest.
Someone like me who feels everything. I mean, this piece of paper, I get attached and emotional and have feelings for it because I don't know if that's just who I am or how I choose to live my life, or maybe it's a byproduct of everything that I've been through now that I think about it.
Maybe.
That just came to me. So I have feelings nonstop.
And you do.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I don't stop and think about them. But knowing me and knowing how I go through my day, and at the end of the day why I'm literally emotionally exhausted, is because I have all these feelings and everything has feeling. And to me, that kind of makes life more fun if you have feelings. But we're supposed to investigate them? Only the bad feelings or all feelings?
You can apply this rain to any feeling.
Okay.
Whether it's a good feeling or a bad feeling.
Yeah.
We tend to want bad feelings to go away.
Right.
And we tend to want good feelings to come more often. So either one of those situations is kind of counter to what actually is happening in the present moment. So I think that what this is doing is bringing you back to the awareness, so that that's the joy that has no opposite. That's the peace that doesn't have an opposite. That's a sense of love that's unconditional. So it's not really based on conditions.
And the joy that has no opposite. Is that something you feel a lot?
I do.
Is that something we should all want to feel? I know, I'm not supposed to ask.
I just think that's when you return home, that's a feeling that you'll get.
So we're talking.
So I have, there's fun things to do, but fun things in the present moment and enjoy the fun,
Right.
And experience life to the fullest, right? But it's kind of like a piece of chocolate cake. You're loving the chocolate cake until you eat too much and then you feel terrible, or you eat some chocolate cake and you want more chocolate cake. What about just in the present moment? You're eating chocolate cake. When the cake is gone, the cake is gone. It's just what is happening in the present moment, and that's the richness of what we're talking about.
Are we talking about emotions so we can learn to manage them? Because some people seem like they have a difficult time managing their emotions.
Yeah, managing emotions is tough. Well, what do you mean by managing them?
I don't know, if you are quick to anger and you need to learn to deal with your anger so you're not angry all the time. That would be managing an emotion. And it would be helpful to apply the RAIN technique to that. So maybe you're aware of it and you calm down a little bit and you're more pleasant to be around.
Managing emotions is one thing, but returning to your core and moving ahead from that is another, right? And so it is. I guess you could call it managing your emotions, but I'd like to say reshifting or changing your perspective on those emotions.
See, that is so outside the box thinking, don't you think?
That's the box is the problem, Lisa.
Well, I'm thinking of people listening and they're like, "Oh, I'm stressed and I'm depressed and I want tools and how can I feel better?" And I hear it and I think it's useful, but I just want to drill down a little bit more to make it.
And I also want you and me and everyone to practice, to continue to practice. So again, because these things aren't necessarily figured out intellectually, and they are experienced. And that's why I think practice is so important. So you spent some time practicing and you found yourself full of thoughts and emotions that were unpleasant for you. What happened after that?
You mean that very time?
That time.
It was not pretty.
Okay. So is that okay?
Oh, yeah, it's okay. But it made me think, what? Maybe I have to approach this in a different way. I mean, where did these thoughts come from? How do you know where your thoughts come from? And
they come from your brain.
Yeah.
And that's what brains do. Lungs breathe, brains think. Emotions are in your body too. You feel them in your body. And I'm asking you to apply awareness to these things and see what happens. And so even when you're thinking that you're thinking wrong, I'm aware that now I'm judging my thoughts. I'm aware now that I'm upset because I'm not doing this correctly. All of it to be held with awareness. And maybe from that, if you can do that, that's such a compassionate thing to do. So compassion emerges like organically. If you're able to just hold things as they are, it's a big act of compassion. A big act of love for yourself.
But hold things as they are. That's my interpretation of as they are. Right? You might look at what I'm feeling and...
But it sounds like they're bothering you. And so that we've still got some work to do.
Yeah. What work? What should I do?
Help
me.
Rain.
Let's
go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the basics. So when we do our mindfulness practice,
right.
Remember you were started with mindfulness of the breath, and you could be aware of your breath, right? That's an easy thing to do. You can be mindful of your body, right? That you can feel your body. Becoming mindful of emotions is a little more challenging, but it's the same type of thing we're talking about. Just like your body, your lungs breathe, your body feels, your brain thinks, and emotions emerge, which are kind of both mind and body. So can you hold them in awareness? And can you hold every evaluation thought in awareness, and everything you think in awareness? And just let it be in this field of awareness and see what happens.
I really want to know
Because-
what's going to happen.
Exactly. So that means, should we do the meditation now?
Are you ready?
Any more points to make?
I'm good.
So let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. So get in your comfortable position. And we also want to just say, if you're driving, this is not a good idea to do the guided
Right.
meditation while you're driving.
Save it for later, though.
Save it for later. And Lisa, we're just going to, right now, since we have this great opportunity to practice awareness, we're going to start with our breath. And feel the breath go over your nose, wherever that might be. And feel the air go in your lungs. And we're just using this technique to get our awareness, our mindfulness kind of focused in your body, your breath. And let your breath just be happening. And let's call it a field of awareness. Okay, so we've got a field of awareness, and you're breathing in it. And we'll just do a quick body scan of just feeling the bottoms of your feet and the tops of your feet. Moving up your ankles, your lower leg, your knee and your upper leg and your hips, and your pelvis and lower abdomen. Stop there. Take a big belly breath. And up your chest. And scan your lower back, middle back, upper back. Palms of your hands, back of your hands, wrists, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulders, to your neck. And feel your whole body below your neck. So you're not just a head. And then become aware of your head, starting at the back of your head, the top of your head, forehead, all the muscles in your face. And then start with just pick a thought, like pick what you had for breakfast, and let your brain think that. And then use your awareness to be aware of that thought. And we'll practice again with another thought. Maybe think about someone you met today, someone you saw, and let your brain do its thing. conversation. And just then be aware of that thought. And see if this awareness place feels like a very calm and peaceful and loving space. And if you'd like, just think of an emotion. You know, emotions are more complicated than thoughts. Let's see if you might bring up something not too difficult. Maybe a time when you felt embarrassed or angry, or forgetful or judgmental. I'm going to think of my key problem. I'm just going to notice where that feels in my body. Maybe you feel something in your heart, or in your gut, or in your back. Usually we're trying to push these feelings or emotions away, but what if you just held it there and it is an emotion, it is part of your experience. And is there a way to just accept it as the present moment? Instead of pushing it away. If that feels comfortable. So maybe look at it investigate it with interest and care. So, well, what is that all about? What underlies this emotion? And what underlies that? And where does that feel in your body? And just lay out all the different components of your human experience. In awareness. And then just see if this kind of non-judgmental acceptance might stir up or let you find some compassion. So instead of pushing it away and trying to have things different. Maybe it's really compassionate to just allow what is to be. And maybe there might be some healing that comes from that. There may be a shift in perspective on that whole thread of feelings and emotions that allow you to return home to something that's actually true. Because this awareness place, this part of you that's there, isn't really diluted by all the stories and what people told you and your habits and all these things. Just see if exploring emotions and feelings with awareness will just shift your perspective back to this something deeper, truer, still, quiet place. It may provide some healing, and maybe as you go forward, there may be a different perspective, a different baseline that is informing how you move through the world. And your brain will think all these things, distracting things, stories. I just bring your thoughts to awareness. Rest as awareness. Compassionate awareness. Peaceful awareness. You may even feel some joy that these things don't have the same hold on you. And smile if that feels authentic. And so now we'll close by taking 3 deep breaths. And opening your eyes. And that is how you find peace and joy in the most unlikely places.
Want my honest opinion?
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard for me. And I'm going to do it over and over and over and over again. But I wasn't smiling. What if you're not smiling?
It's okay, too. I said if it felt authentic.
Yeah. I think it's really useful. And I hope to do it and get to a place where I am smiling.
Do you have a little bit of trust or faith that this might make sense?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I just said I'll do it over and over and over again. It makes sense. And part of it, I was thinking, well, this is fun because it does let you separate from the pain. And I love to do laundry, so it reminded me of doing laundry because I'm like really particular about it, and I take it out early and I hang it up so it can de-wrinkle. And I thought, I'm kind of like taking the stuff out of the dryer and hanging it up and letting it de-wrinkle.
Oh,
that's what it reminded me
right.
of. And I thought, well, that's fun. And then we got deeper into it. I thought, no, not so much fun.
Yeah.
But that's okay because
it is okay.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
There's some self-compassion that you have right for yourself.
Yeah.
And so, people don't just jump into this right away.
Yeah.
But if there's a little bit of faith, a little bit of trust that there is another way, and that's where this exploring awareness is opening to that, using mindfulness techniques to see if there might be another way outside of that box, you call it.
I look forward to finding another way. I do trust, and I think it will be glorious when I do, and I am trusting and hopeful. And I'm thinking maybe people listening are feeling the same way I am. It's not it's not a quick fix.
It's not a quick fix. No, Lisa. If it was a quick fix, we'd all be fixed. No, it's we've unlearned a lot of our truth.
What do you mean?
Just in the world, we've been pulled away from that. And then this is an opportunity to return home.
Mm-hmm. So when we wrap up this podcast and I get in my car and I start feeling all these emotions that are not necessarily pleasant ones.
Please hold it with compassion.
Okay.
If you can. And if you can't, hold that with compassion.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do, and I appreciate it.
But it won't be something that you think. It's going to be something that's already there that you are continuing to uncover and let it be what is leading you.
Is it always a painful process?
No, it's not always a painful process. But for some of us, we have to cut through the chafe. Right. And part of the path can be rocky. But part of the path is wonderful, you know, and there's so many wonderful things that happen too. So we keep all of that in balance,
right.
you know. We can enjoy the great moments, and these other things, once they're cleared, you know, things can the quality of life is different. You know, I don't want to make promises, but I would ask that, you know, it's not just me saying this. There's so many wonderful people who have done this practice and found within themselves this place of wisdom and joy and compassion. And you know them. You've had experiences with that as well. You know the people out there, some who are teachers, some who are not. Some just have this on their own and some don't. So when you ask why, it's like, well, if you think you need to do something like this, if you think there's another way, or if you've got a sense that there's another way, this is something you can join us on this journey, and we can keep working on it. And we'll have more podcasts, and we'll bring in some guests at some point, and we can talk about some books and other teachers and all kinds of things. But I really appreciate your sincerity and your commitment to this.
I look forward to seeing what happens. And if you're listening and you want to email us, we have an email address.
exploringawareness@gmail.com.
I would love to hear if you're having a easy time or maybe a difficult time like me, or have a question. We could talk about
we could answer it on air.
Yeah.
And we have a Patreon page as well, Exploring Awareness at Patreon, where you could hear the podcasts or join the community of patrons that are there.
And we have a Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook page. We
Exploring
got a lot
Awareness.
of likes on that one.
Yeah, and it's all about connecting. I think, I'm putting myself out there and learning in this process, and hopefully you are too. And maybe hearing me will make you not feel so alone. And maybe we're all going through something, and learning and growing. And Dr. Frank Anderson just guaranteed us we're all going to.
No.
You said so.
No.
Yeah.
Listen to the disclaimer at the end.
Yes. Well, thank you again for your wisdom and insight and perspective. And thank you for listening.
And I just want to thank all the people that have taught me too. I want to be clear, right? That I have been taught by a lot of people,
right.
And there's always a tradition of giving gratitude to the people before you that have gone through all these things as well. And so there's been a lot of people that have done that, and so we're just passing it on.
I feel like we're creating a healing community. How about that? I like that. Yeah.
Change the world.
One meditation at a time.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much for listening, and we'll be back next week, hopefully, with more community healing information.
We're on a roll, so more to come.
This podcast is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice, nor does use of this information establish a physician-patient relationship. Listening to this podcast does not replace medical consultation with a qualified health or medical professional to meet the health and medical needs of you or others. If you are having problems, please see your primary care provider or your local mental health professional.